Here we are, 8 o'clock. Hey, how are you doing? I switched. Instead of 9 in the morning, doing this at 8 p.m. The reason for the switch is because I felt maybe could accommodate more people on a Saturday. Not sure. I'm sipping decaf coffee. And the reason that it tastes okay, even though I'm not a big fan of decaf, is because I've recently introduced this into my diet. So you may be wondering, why zinc picolinate? I found out recently from some research that when you're on chemotherapy like I am, that you lose your taste, you lose your hair, you lose some stuff, right? And things change in your body. And the mention was made that zinc actually helps bring back the taste that you had before. Helps. It's not totally back there. I can attest to that, but it's better. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me. My name's Dave Jackson. I was diagnosed with gallbladder cancer back in April of this year. In March, I found out I had a tumor. And of course, when you get that kind of news, you're immediately on, the internet trying to find out, okay, doctor, Google, how do we get rid of a tumor, right? And for some reason, I'm not sure, I think it's divine myself, but that's the way I kind of think about things, is that I stumbled upon this ketogenic diet, keto along with the conventional care, which is chemotherapy, as being a therapy to fight against cancer. Now, I'm not sure how I bumped onto that page. I know I was looking at stuff about Jordan Peterson up in Canada, right? And I know he has a special diet, and maybe it's sort of ketogenic, but I'm not sure exactly why. But on the same page, it mentioned ketogenic, cancer, and that kind of thing. And, I went down that rabbit hole. And I'm happy I did, because in doing this research online, and I'm the kind of person that, you have to show me the science behind it. What's the connection? How mechanically does it work? How does a ketogenic diet help with cancer, of all things? So I had to hear all that. It's not just that, well, a lot of people are doing it and it works. I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to see the science behind it. And so happily, there is a lot of science behind going on a therapeutic keto diet and fighting cancer this way. So tonight, I want to just talk about a few things that are on my radar. Now, you can imagine, since March, April, I've had some months to put together a lot of stuff. I put together, as quickly as I could, a protocol that works for me. From all my blood results, my latest scans, things are going in the right direction quickly, which is very good for me, because gallbladder cancer is one of the most aggressive and crazy types of cancers out there. So nothing to mess around with, especially when, as I always say, cancer never takes a day off. I mean, you can do what you want to do, lollygag around, put it off till next week, but cancer doesn't do that. Cancer is ferocious, all right? And we have to come at it from every angle, which is the topic of tonight's live video here on YouTube. I do want to bring you up to date on what's going on. I did, if you remember, I did go to see my new gastro guy, Dr. Bucker, who just a joy, a gem of a person. He's just a joyful person to everybody he meets. That kind of person that's just, just wow, this guy's got that, good vibes coming off from everywhere. Whereas my other gastro guy is not so much. So thus the change. It's the sunset's happening outside right now. That's why I'm looking over there. It's colorful, beautiful. I'm not sure you can really see it behind me. Maybe if the camera sort of focuses on that. Nah. But so after talking to me, after going through everything that's happened to me since the beginning, Dr. Bacher said, instead of changing your stent out, and I have a stent because the cancer is not actually in the gallbladder. Okay, it's close to the gallbladder, close to the liver, close to the biliary ducts. It's just like around that thing. So it's a mess in there, and that's why what I'm trying to do is shrink the dickens out of that thing so we can maybe think about getting it out of there, or the thing just shrinking and going away, which would be a good thing too. But because it's like primarily on my bile duct, and then that's the way I found out that I was sick, was because it was choking off my bile duct. And when that happens, that bile's got to go somewhere. Normally it secretes into your intestine, which helps you break down fats. Well, this thing was backing up and going into my bloodstream, going just everywhere, into my urine. I mean, it was making me jaundice, making me itch. It was just a terrible thing. I didn't know what was going on. So when they put in the stent, what the stent does is opens up the bile duct. Relief. I felt a lot better. So he looked at it, and he has prescribed a medical procedure putting in a permanent stent. I suppose you could look at that two different ways. One being that if it's permanent, does that mean the cancerous tumor surrounding is not going away? Or you feel that, not going to get better? Or is this just a better option instead of switching this thing out every few months? So, I'm trusting him with that because upon searching and doing some research on these permanent stents, they are a good thing. I'm not really sure how they work. I'm not sure if the diameter of it is bigger than the temporary stents. Temporary stents are made out of non-metal material, and I am not sure if I'm going to become metallic, and when I go through the airport thing, that I'll have to go through the one that does where you put your hands up like this, not the metallic one. And also, there may be some bearing on MRIs, because that uses a magnetic resonance. So my mom even asked me, is the thing going to be titanium? Because I am not sure, but maybe titanium is not magnetic, so you wouldn't have any problems in the MRI machine itself. But I do know that my oncologist, Dr. Santiago, wants to do more MRIs, which I'm a big fan of because they're non-toxic, right? Something that has been bugging me, lately. It didn't through the first 3 or 4 sessions that I had with chemo, but now it is maybe it's catching up with my system, or my system's finally getting so intoxicated by the chemicals that it's being rough. But I don't have the side effects as far as having nausea and upchucking or anything like that. But I do feel weak at times, like today, just zero strength at all. I mean, it's just like, wow. Sometimes it's hard to get up even, because your muscle strength's not there. And this is because of the toxins from the chemotherapy. I swear it is. It's not from anything else I'm doing. Santiago asked, so how do you know it's not from the cancer? How do you know it's not from, and you just know, you know that, certain things are just like very toxic to you. So I am, once again, last time I was there, and I haven't had chemo. Well, I did have chemo right after my session with him. I had 15 minutes with him. You get 15 minutes with your doctor. And he said, well, your blood work shows that you can tolerate these high levels of chemo, and I'm going, yeah, but I mean, it's like making me miserable, all the time. And that's not the quality of life I want. Yes, but let's just do a couple more and then we'll see another MRI and see where we're at. So I gave him that, but I think I'm going to take that back and go, we got to lower the dosage some, because I believe what I'm doing with the ketogenic diet and with these supplements, a couple of them I'll show you here in just a sec, is really just as, if not more powerful than these chemicals that they're putting in me. Now, the reason why I go with the chemotherapy is because it works synergistically with the ketogenic diet. And I want to get into that a little bit because I just saw this new YouTube video, which after this is done, I'll post below in the description, with Dr. Seyfried, Thomas Seyfried, and a couple of other PhDs that were talking about whether or not all cancers feed on glucose and glutamine. And that's the whole premise behind the therapy that I do, which is called Press Pulse. And the protocol that I've put together, which is my routine for the day. And, using all these things and doing all these things that I do, which have proven from the numbers, and some of you people have seen my tumor markers and my blood work, liver enzyme numbers have just, bounced back spectacularly. So I'm really happy there. But, this video kind of got me thinking. He's just saying that there is no tumor that he has, no cancer rather, that he has ever come across. And this guy is, he's a researcher in a lab. I mean, he spends his life putting these cancers through the tests in a lab. And I was, thinking that maybe prostate cancer is one of the cancers that feeds on fatty acids. And when you think about the book that Jane McClellan wrote called Starve Cancer, she, talks about that, how to starve cancer. That's her book there. Can you see that? And Dr. Seyfried's book is A Metabolic Approach, Cancer as a Metabolic Disease, rather. So 2 great books. I would turn the autofocus on, but I'm not going to do that because it takes a little time. But, those are the 2 books. In his book, it's like all cancers, And so when I first started out, it was like, okay, all cancers, what we have to do is stop all the glucose and glutamine to the cancer cells. That's what getting into ketosis does. Instead of this uptake of carbs that you normally have in your diet and sugars, you just do protein and fats. And then eventually when you get into ketosis, your body starts using fats as energy, or ketones as they call it. And according to Dr. Thomas, these cancer cells that have a damaged mitochondria, which is the outer shell of the cell, they cannot uptake ketones at all. So they're out there starving, which is kind of what Jane's saying in her book. We got to starve the cancer. But she says you got to be, here's her viewpoint, is that you got to be careful because not all cancers are the same. Some cancers feed on fats, such as ketones. So you have to be careful and block for that cancer, if you have that cancer, you have to block that pathway. Now, for me, I'm hearing this thing again by Dr. Seyfried, Thomas Seyfried, and he's like adamant about the fact that no, all cancers that he's ever run into use glucose and glutamine. They may work with fat too, but so little that you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is cut off these pathways to the cancer, and you're going to be doing something great, starving that thing. So if it were me, and I always tell you guys, don't do what I'm doing. I'm just showing you what I would do. And then you take that information and make your own choices. Of course, it was kind of cool because I immediately got a number of people close to me that could help me make decisions in the area of, the medicinal part of it, the supplemental part, supplements, and any kind of theories or things that I had. I would print out the papers and say, look, can you study this with me? This is what I'm talking about here. And, you run into a couple of people when you're trying to find your circle of your team, right? Of warriors that are going to help you through this. But I immediately found people that were curious, wanted to know more, and actually studied with me. So if it were me and I had the type of cancer, like say prostate cancer, which my brother-in-law has, and he claims to me that his doctor told him that he has to be on a very, very, very low-fat diet, I would do that. I would go on the low-fat diet. Not saying that Dr. Seyfried's wrong, but if there's a chance that maybe some of the fat you're eating or whatever could fuel a cancer cell. We don't know everything. We just don't know everything. We've seen, what even cancer cells, according to Dr. Thomas now again, cancer cells that uptake the fats, we've seen what they do when you cut off their glucose and glutamine supply as fuel. They die, right? So, it's like a toss up there, and it's something that I wanted to cover on the live tonight, is that because some people look to me for advice, and, it's like, this is what I would do if you had that. If there was a chance, I would just go and, not do it. I would not eat a fatty diet. There's plenty of diets out there where you don't have to have fats and you don't have to have sugars, right? There's no need. And you can survive. I mean, my brother-in-law is a good example of that. So I'm going to put that one to bed. I love the fact that he's all gung-ho about every cancer cell likes to uptake glucose and glutamine. I mean, the way the chemotherapies work is they kind of look for the cells that are using a lot of that for fuel and also multiplying quickly. That's the reason why your hair falls out, is because it's one of the cells in the body that, multiplies rapidly. So I think it's, it's just, you want to err on the side of caution. And if you have something like that, well, then block what you think they may be feeding on. And if it is glucose and glutamine, there's blockers out there that'll stop that. People with diabetes take a lot of these blockers. They blocks sugar and has been helping them. People that get on a ketogenic diet and take the blockers find reversals in a lot of these diseases, such as type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's, and, a ton of the cancers. I'm not going to say cures, but there have been, some dramatic changes and turnarounds, and things have gone into remission, So It's spectacular what's happening with a ketogenic diet. And I am happy, so happy that I ran into this, perchance. The next thing I want to talk about is circadian rhythm. I mean, for me, it's like circadian rhythm. You hear about that, growing up, and you're thinking, yeah, your body, yeah, there's something to it, because sometimes when you can't get to sleep and then you wake up at 10 in the morning, stuff's off. Your body has a body clock. I used to have a friend that back in the day that when things weren't going right with her, she always says, "Oh, my body clock's off, my body clock." As working for an airline and you're flying against time zones, or you're going with the time zones, one of the things that really messes your health up big time is not sleeping during your circadian rhythm, not having that time where your body goes, isn't this time that we normally go to bed, and you're still, flying for another 4 hours. So those kind of jobs are just like, they're really very hard on your health. We found out in the last 5 years or so that sleep is just so important. And I think, and I put it as part of one of the branches, and I call them branches in my protocol, is that sleep is just as important as any of the supplements, as any of the chemo, as any of the other things that you're going to do to fight cancer. Sleep is very important. Now, sleep is a thing, if you believe your body, and I know this word can be misconstrued as like quackery or something, holistically, because back in the day, it was like these guys that used to use, just about anything to heal you, like water from the Cucamonga River in Paraguay or something like that. That was called a holistic approach, right? I don't mean that. What I mean is, treating the body as a whole thing, because conventional medicine, from what I've been exposed to and what I've experienced, and it's just recent, because this is all brand new to me, even though I understand a lot of it. I'm going through things and going, okay, this is the way this works, right? And you ask, and sure enough, that's the way it works. So conventional medicine, conventional care with cancer is focusing on the cancer. And how can we shrink it? How can we pour drugs on it? How can we irradiate it? How can we take it out of you? All that, instead of looking at the whole body. That's what I mean by holistically, because this thing is like a unit, right? I mean, it's like one thing, and even though it's many things. So do you get what I'm saying? Those of you that are watching this live on YouTube, you can chat. I got the chat open if you want to. So when you treat the body as a whole, you treat everything. Sleep, to let the body repair itself. You treat spiritual. A lot of people, when they hear that word, you've got cancer, or as they told me, you have what appears to be gallbladder cancer. They don't just come out and say it. They just, they kind of circle around the bush so they don't have to tell you you have cancer. You have what appears to be cancer. When you hear those words, a lot of people, that is like the dagger of death. It's like, okay, I'm going to die in 6 months, and you become desperate. And the way our mind works, not that I know everything about it, but it is, even though it's a fantastic thing, it can take one idea and just start doing this like slow spiral down, and you just can become depressed and thinking that I have this horrific disease. How am I going to overcome this? And I feel alone. And I feel like there's nobody that understands. People may feel I'm lazy or I just feel sick because, I'm playing some kind of cancer card or something. So it's tough. It's very tough. And you have to treat the body as one unit. So I think it would be just so beneficial if an oncologist could come to you and say, yes, I am here, understand cancers. I understand biology, I understand your body, I understand spirit, I understand not everything, but that we have to treat this as one thing. My oncologist never once has asked me if I've been getting enough sleep, never has asked about my nutrition, never has asked about exercise. There's just so many things that make up your body that all point back to, are we going to get this cancer healed or not? Are we doing what we can do? And so that's the approach I took. It's not like some quackery holistic thing, but more whole body, in the protocol. And one of the things is sleep. You got to get your sleep, got to get your circadian rhythm right. So if you're at a place where you can sleep at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every night, and I know people poo-poo the idea of taking electronics to bed, but I have mine set up to where it shuts off all notifications at a certain time. It tells me when to wind down for bed, get ready. In the morning, it gently wakes me up at the exact same time to start my day. And then throughout my day, I have an app that tells me the different things that are part of my protocol that I have to do. If not, I won't remember them. There's just, in life, there's so much going on. So you do need the help. That's the way I use my electronics. I don't pick that thing up at 4 a.m. Well, maybe once in a while I do, but I don't do it as a habit, or I don't have it in there to do that, in next to my bed. I have it there, either one of two things. It's either monitoring my sleep, or it's there and serves as an alarm to wake me up. Now, you can have other things do this too. It doesn't have to be your phone. I have my phone because in addition to doing all that, it also records all that into Apple Health, which is beneficial to me. I can go back and look. And also my Fitbit app, where I can go back and look and see what kind of sleep did I have. And then I also can look at my Chronometer app, which is another app, a lot of apps going on here, right? And see what I ate the day before, because I don't eat the same exact thing every single day. And some nights I don't sleep as well. Maybe I can go back and see why. It's because I ate the fruit from the Cochabamba plant or whatever, and it just didn't sit with me very well. All right, so circadian rhythm, that's a big one I want you to take away and think about in your own life. Try to get the same amount of hours of sleep every single day. As you see, it's getting like darker outside. And so what should we do at nighttime? It's a time to sleep, to rest, to let the body repair itself. Daytime is a time to get up, get moving, exercise, eat. And the body's built to do all that stuff while you're awake, not while you're sleeping. So something brand new that I'm doing, I started this actually today. So you're along with me on this one, is one of my coaches. And, even though I am a coach, coaches have coaches too, right? This is somebody that I pay for and is from Australia and has a tremendous track record, and lots of testimonials. So I bring to you all that benefit. He has me on this circadian rhythm thing to make sure that I don't eat anything after 3 p.m. Now, I can choose to stop before then, like today I did. I think, I was done at like, I don't know, noontime, maybe 12:30 was my first and only meal. I only had one meal today. So the reason why we want to stop at 3 p.m. is because, and this all has to do with circadian rhythm, is because you are allowing the small intestine a chance to empty out, which takes about 6 hours before you start getting into your deep sleep, which, if you go to sleep around 9 or 9:30, then you're going to have an empty small intestine, which means the pancreas can stop producing insulin, and you have the benefit of the liver can go to sleep, and not go to sleep, but, slow down and stop doing all this thing because you're introducing more food every 5 minutes, right? And that's what the body wants to do. That's the things the body wants to do at night during this circadian rhythm, is to get in the position where it can repair and do good things. So it's beneficial. All right. All right. Some of the, one of the things that I have, and I send links out all the time, and I'll put the link down below in the description here, is a thing I call peek at my protocol. And like, that sounds kind of weird actually, but updates to my protocol. What am I doing? Like the sleep thing I just told you about, the not eating after 3 o'clock, and then the 6 hours it takes, and then circadian rhythm. That's something brand new that I just added. Sleep was already in there, but the way to do it, this is just, it's tremendous information that has been proven to allow your body to repair itself better. Your numbers will get better if you allow your body to repair itself during that time. Okay, so my supplement updates and anything else that I do to my protocol, the protocol itself is different. I mean, it's not what the link is about. If you like join and get in on this email that goes out every week or so, what you will see is a video that will show you, new things that I've added, things that I've taken away, and that's all. If you want to unsubscribe at any time, you can. But what I suggest you do is get on that list. And then when the videos come out, if you don't like them, just delete them. But if they are something you think is beneficial, which I hope they are of value to you, you will take notes, pass them along to people that are having the same kind of challenges that I am having, and tell them that this is what Dave's doing. You maybe can take a look at it. Doesn't mean copy what I'm doing, but I'll show you, what is going on with me. So this I added, this is Saturday. So this I added this week. This is 20 grams of melatonin. Now that's a ton of melatonin, right? Let's get it over here the right way. It's hard to see that, right? Because maybe we'll do the camera thing, so you guys can see what's going on here. All righty. So melatonin comes in this powder form, and still can't see it. Okay, let me see. Let me try to get that. There we go. There. 20 grams of melatonin. I take like 1/8 of a teaspoon each time I take this, and I take it 7 times a day to get up to 1,200 grams of this stuff, right? And each time I take that, I also take it with this vitamin C, which every time I take that, which is another little scoop, it's 1,000 milligrams. So I'm getting like 6,000 or 7,000 milligrams of the vitamin C every day, right? When I take that along with the melatonin. So that's new. And it's from new research that's come out in the last few years. Some of it's brand new research, but research has been going on with melatonin and cancer for some time at these doses. Now, I am supposed to work myself up to 5,000 grams, which is 5 grams a day, which is a lot. But with my particular cancer, it can handle that. Now, your body, according to my nutritionist, can handle melatonin. Doesn't have that kind of a strange side effect. According to him and the research that has been done and people that have been doing it and getting tremendous results from melatonin, people that have cancer, it's something I encourage you strongly to look into, okay? Melatonin. The vitamin C, if you recall, there was a time that I was like, vitamin C is like, do you really need this stuff? Yes, no, maybe. And it wasn't that I was against it. It was that I wanted someone to come up with the proof of the mechanism between, okay, how does vitamin C do this with cancer? And there is a correlation, but there is, as far as the papers I've read so far, maybe somebody can send me another one, is that there is no strong mechanical bridge between why, when you take high levels of vitamin C, the cancer cells, the metabolism of the cancer cells changes. But it happens. We are one of the very few animals that don't produce our own vitamin C. Did you know that lab rats produce vitamin C? So when they are injected with chemochemicals in the lab, they actually fight it off naturally with vitamin C. There are some animals, such as goats. These are just tidbits I'm throwing out here now. Wikipedia Dave. Goats eat a lot of garbage, as you know. They eat like a lot of poisonous plants. Their livers can create like tremendous amounts of vitamin C, like off the charts levels. The belief is that vitamin C is used as a anti-venom, antitoxin. So could be, right? That's the thinking. So it doesn't hurt you to take vitamin C. Vitamin C has been shown to be good for lots of different things. And for something in my protocol that doesn't hurt to take, I think it's a good thing to put on the list. So we did cover zinc before. The zinc is to bring your taste back when you're on any kind of chemotherapy. That has been shown to work for a lot of people. A lot of people claim it doesn't do anything, but it's worth a try, right? And zinc's another thing that's good for your body. And finally, the other thing that I put in my protocol this week was the charting of my hydration, which I had not been doing. I've been just drinking until I felt like, okay, I've had enough. But come to find out, there are times during the day that I should have hydrated more. I think it's important to stay hydrated throughout the day, because when you do this, then your body can, more easily do what it has to do by using the hydration that you provided. So make sure that you log that. There's ways to do that with Chronometer, which is the app I use to log everything, even cups of coffee. And because, if you look the next day and you see, that made my belly ache or whatever it did, it was maybe the coffee late in the day. This is decaf, which does have some caffeine in it. I do realize that. But it is what it is. Not much, right? All right, that about does it for me on this end. We've covered a lot of ground here. Hopefully you will sign up for the updates. I know they will be beneficial not only to you, but to other people that you might know. You can direct them to the links. And once you're on there, like I say, you can share that with anybody. And, if it's something that's just like totally not what you're looking for, then you can unsubscribe too. I always have that in anything I'll send out to you, okay? So thank you very much for joining me tonight. I'm not sure if this was better, a better time of day, but experimenting here, and hopefully that, we can find a time that both of us can get together every week. And what I'm going to be doing with the Saturday show is when I bring people on and do interviews with people, is going to get more away from my so-called journey updates, because I post about them a lot, and then more about some beneficial things that you guys can use in your fight against cancer or whatever you're fighting against, whatever metabolic disease that you're fighting against, okay? I appreciate you. Thanks for subscribing here, and thanks for listening. Thanks for liking the page, and just appreciate you so much. Lots of gratitude going out from me. Hope you have a blessed weekend. Still have this weekend, and then next week looks, wow, just like a very great week coming up. For me, I have a medical procedure happening on Tuesday, bright and early in the morning, which is putting in that permanent stent, remember, I talked to you about. And then from there, the Dr. Bacher, is going to take pictures using ultrasound, which I have not had done before. I've had some actual photographic pictures, which, once you hit a wall, which is tissue inside there, you can't photograph beyond that. But with ultrasound, you can see beyond that and see if there's anything, like more dense behind that. So that'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. My concern with him doing, in addition to the pictures, small biopsies through that area, is, of course, the spread of cancer when you're taking tissue or biting into anything that's malignant. And according to Dr. Santiago, that will not happen. So who do you trust, right? I'm trusting you, Dr. Santiago. Anyway, have a great one. Thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next video.